should I tell you guys? I'm here, I'm doing it. The total number that my credit card debt ended up coming to nearing the end of 2019. Hello guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're ready to talk about credit card debt, my story with credit card debt, and just an honest talk about money. Now, if you did not see the first episode in this series, definitely check out that episode because that will give you more context as to how I got to this point of building up credit card debt. Like, I don't want to reiterate what I already told you guys because that was like a 30-minute long video. So today, we're gonna talk about credit card debt. And I've got the stats, I've got the facts. Actually, I need to get my phone really quickly. I don't know where it is. Grab my water bottle as well because got to stay hydrated. So, credit card debt, guys. This is not something that I ever thought was going to happen to me. My mom raised me to be very financially smart. So she had a rule when we had our first few jobs. If you're curious what my first job was, I was a swim teacher. But we had a rule where half of the money that we made, so half of our paycheck, had to go into our bank account and we could not touch it. And then the other half we could take out, and that was to be used for paying for gas, or if we wanted to go out with our friends or something. And it was a way for us to save up money, which was great. And that's how I was raised. So I thought oh, it's ingrained in my mind to save money, to be smart with my money. I'm never gonna get into credit card debt. That's just not who I am. No, I ended up getting into credit card debt. So I guess we should start at the very beginning like I did with the last video. I got my first credit card freshman year of college. Didn't tell my mom. I just kind of thought it was a good idea to start building up a credit score. A credit score is so important. With several purchases that you're going to make in your life, a credit score is important. And I thought, okay, if I start young, I'm gonna be smart. I'm rarely gonna use this card. I'm just gonna use it to buy groceries or miscellaneous snacks that I want for my college dorm. And then the rest of my expenses will go on my debit card. And every single month, I'm gonna pay off my credit card. It's gonna be $50. And I'm just gonna start building up a good credit score. And that's exactly what I did. Honestly, I was so financially smart with my first credit card the first couple of years that I had it. So financially smart. I did not abuse it in any way. It wasn't until senior year where, guys, I was a senior, and like I said, I'm not a great employee. So I had a change in my boss in one of my jobs that I had in college. I had two jobs. In one of my jobs, the boss had a transition, so I had someone new, and I just didn't get along with the new guy. I didn't, and I ended up quitting. Full transparency, I just ended up quitting because I just didn't get along with him, and it was near the end of my senior year, and I was I'm over it, I'm done, I quit. Well, that job was my main source of income. My other job was honestly only 2 hours a week. So I was making no money with that other job. The job that I ended up quitting, that was my main source of income. So when I quit that job, I didn't adjust my spending. And it was my senior year, so I was going to bars. Obviously, I was 21. I was going out to eat. I was going to movies. I was living my best life while starting to build up credit card debt because I didn't have any income. And I didn't really realize it at the time. I didn't really think about it because I already had a job secured once I graduated. So I was it's no big deal. That's where the problem begins. I was it's no big deal. I'm gonna be able to pay this off. As soon as I get my first two paychecks, it's gonna be paid off. Done. My first credit card, the credit limit was $600, $700. So it wasn't that much. So really I didn't have that much money to spend, and I'm so freaking glad because if it was $3,000, I would have really started to dig myself in a hole super early on. So yeah, I ended up graduating college and I had actually maxed out that credit card. So I had spent that $600, $700 and I was just using my debit card for everything. And I was basically paying the minimum on my credit card to make sure that I was keeping a good credit score, I was still in good graces. And then once I got my full-time job, paid it off immediately. And then I started to build up my savings again. And I thought, I didn't at the time think that it was a big deal because I had paid it off. I was starting to save money and I had a little nest, I guess you could say, in my savings account. And I thought I was totally fine. I know that I'm good with my money. So I just thought that was one little mishap. I lost a job. I quit a job. I didn't lose a job. That was my own choice. And I had one little mishap. Well, you guys know because you watched the last episode in this series. If you did not, please go watch that video because this will make a whole lot of sense. I went into 2018 with making barely any money. I was making like $100 a month. And I had some savings, like I told you, I had some, but it was only a couple grand. Like, it was not enough to get me by. So the money that I had saved was basically going to bills. It was with helping Alex with expenses. I had lost that one client and I was working on my paid products. So I ended up launching my paid products in March of 2018 and they did pretty well for me. They didn't do amazing. It wasn't enough to sustain me, but it was a couple $100s and that was a big deal for the audience that I had at the time. So that was good, but I realized that I needed to get clients. I needed to go back to work, basically. I needed a way to make money. So I started taking on more clients again, and that kind of led me to Pinterest management, that led me to consultations, that led me to coaching, and all of that was good and dandy, but when you are making money that way and you're still really small, the money was really, really inconsistent, is what I will say. So like some months I was making $400, another month I was making $1,200. And it was just really all over the place. And obviously I had a dream of growing my brand, of growing my YouTube channel and growing my blog. And I wanted my full income to come from that. So while I was trying to find other ways to make money because I wasn't making that money from my brand, I was still trying to really grow my brand. And that was really hard for me to wrap my head around. Now, I'm a big believer in manifestation, law of attraction, and it's not something that I talk about a lot on here, but I do believe in it. It's why I create a vision board, and that's why my vision board has worked. Like, I truly believe in it. One of the things you'll read if you're trying to learn how to like manifest money, one of the things you're going to hear over and over and over again is that you need to spend money to make money. You need to feel like you're living the life that you want to have so that you can manifest it and like be living that life, you know? So I really thought, I bought into it. I thought I needed to spend money to make money. And that's what I kept telling myself because I had read all these books and they were like, you need to spend money to make money. It needs to be an easy flow of cash and then you'll have more cash flowing to you, all this stuff. It didn't work for me. Was it 2018 or was it 2019? It had to be 2018. 2018, April. I had to pay my taxes. Pay my taxes quarterly, you guys know that. So I had to pay my taxes, and at the time, I had like no money in my bank account. I had like $200, which maybe to some of you, that is money. But I had like $200, and Alex was calculating my quarterly taxes, and he came back and he told me that I had to pay $400 some in quarterly taxes, and I had 200. And I broke. I had a panic attack and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't function. I had no idea what the heck I was going to do because I did not have the money to pay my taxes. That really started the reality for me that I'm not even sure. It was just like eye-opening for me to realize how broke I truly was, how little money that I was making. And that was really before I had credit card debt. Like at that time, I think I had maybe like $1,000 on my credit card. So thankfully, this is not something that I'm recommending to you guys, okay? Avoid this at all costs. But thankfully, New York State taxes, you can pay with a card. They give you an extra fee, but you can pay with a card. So for New York State taxes, I ended up paying with a card, and then my IRS, I had to pay out of my bank account, and then Alex had to bail me out because I didn't have the money to do it. I didn't have the money to pay for it. That was really the start of it. The end of 2018, I had started to accumulate credit card debt. From then on, after that tax situation, I knew that I had to save some of my money. This is crazy, but I felt like I had to save all of the money that I was making from my business to pay my taxes because I couldn't be in the spot where Alex was bailing me out. I needed to be strong enough. I needed to be independent enough to pay my own taxes. So I started to pay the bare minimum on my credit card. While still in my mind, I had that thought of, oh, you need to spend money to make money. I wish that that phrase never even came into my life because it just like, that was a belief that I held on to that. So it was the end of 2018 when Alex and I ended up sitting down and he was basically like, you know, you need to make money. Like you need to get either a full-time job, you need to get a part-time job, you need to get something because your money is so inconsistent and you can't keep doing what you're doing. So that's when I started driving for Grubhub. And you guys know that I launched a video on my channel a while back. Ended up taking that video off my channel because it was just attracting not nice people. But I ended up realizing like I didn't want a full-time job. At that time, I had already gotten rid of all of my work clothes. Like, I don't have professional clothing because that's not the career and the direction that I wanted to go. And I thought a way to manifest that was to get rid of that life and to not have that as a fallback plan. So I decided to work with Grubhub. And that was a way for me to not have to get a full-time job, not really have to get a part-time job and like be set to anyone's schedule. With Grubhub, I could really set my own schedule. Now, at the time, you got to select your schedule a week ahead of time. So you got to block off hours that you were actually going to drive, and then you drove during those hours. And if you didn't get orders during those hours, they would actually pay you, I think it was $10 an hour. Like, if you did not make $10 an hour, they would pay you for that $10 an hour. For me, it was like guaranteed money, and I ended up making okay money with Grubhub. Like, it was enough to get me by. So I started driving with Grubhub in, I think, October or November of 2018, and I drove with them all the way through March of 2019. Now, this is where I want to pull out my journal because I want to give you guys the numbers. So all the while in 2018, I was building up credit card debt. Like I said, I was trying to save all of my money so I could pay off taxes, and it was really taxes, so I could pay off taxes. And then I was putting the minimum on my credit card. Oh, a step that I totally forgot to mention here. Alex and I had a talk about credit card debt, and like, he knew how much money I was making, how little money I was making, and kind of like my money making strategy. And he was like, well, what is the interest on your credit card right now? And honestly, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I was being charged like $50 to $100 extra every single month for the money that I was rolling over. And he was like, this is, again, where I went wrong. He was like, why don't you get a credit card where you've got a 0% interest fee for like a year, and then you're not spending that extra money, like, or you're not getting that extra money like tacked onto your bill type thing, because obviously you can't pay for it. So what ended up happening, I ended up getting another credit card. Stupid. So I ended up getting another credit card, consolidated my debt, which I only had one credit card at the time. Put that other money on this new credit card, 0% interest. Great, as long as you paid it off within a year. Cathrin didn't. This new credit card had a credit card limit of $5,000. Now, I should say, my other credit card ended up kept getting increased. You know, like, if you have a good standing with a credit card company or with your credit card and you're paying it off every month, and like I was before I was broke and I wasn't making more money, I was really in good standing with them. So my credit line ended up increasing to $8,000 over there. So when I ended up switching my money over to this new credit card, I think I only had like $2,000 in credit card debt, okay? Not bad. Not good, Cathrin, but not bad. So I ended up getting this new credit card. Okay. One of the tax, I don't even remember what it was, but I know I wrote it in one of my journals because I was going through, I was rereading them. One of the quarterly tax payments that I had to make in 2018, I ended up not saving enough money for. And you guys know, that was my strategy. I was trying to save my money so I could pay off my taxes, and then everything else was going on my credit card. Well, I didn't have the money for it. I had built up that credit card that I switched my money over to, the one that with the 0% interest. I had built that up to, I think I had maybe $200 left on it. So I was over $4,000 in credit card debt. And again, I couldn't pay off my taxes. And I could put my New York State taxes on a credit card. So I went back to my other credit card because I couldn't put it on the one I was using. I put it back on my old one. And that's again where I went wrong. There's so many things that I did wrong, so many mistakes that I made, but I kept telling myself, this is what I have to do, I'll get out of it, and I'm glad to say that I'm out of it, but I made so many mistakes. So I ended up starting to use that other credit card because the other one was full. I was paying the minimum payment on it, which was like $35 a month or something, and I just kind of let that credit card ride. I was like, you know what, it's maxed out. I'm gonna let it ride. I'm gonna put all of my expenses on the other credit card. Now, what I do wanna tell you guys is it's not like I was spending money frivolously. It's not like I was going out to the bars. It's not like I was going out to eat. It's not like I was spending a lot of money on clothing and stuff. Really, my expenses came down to my business. That's what it was. It was my business. And I spend several $100s every single month just to keep my business running. There's a lot of expenses that go into not only YouTube, but just like owning your brand in general. And that's where my money was going. So when I was building up this credit card debt, I was like, you know what? I don't have a choice. Like, these aren't expenses that I can cut out. And I ended up cutting out so many freaking expenses. Like, I used to go to Glen Edith every single week. I started to go to Glen Edith only once a month because I needed it for my mental health, for my sanity, okay? I know a lot of people will be like, well, don't even spend that $3 on a drink. I needed it for myself, okay? So $3 a month I spent on myself, and the rest of my money was going to my business. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I cut out all my expenses. I stopped spending any money on myself, and I didn't feel like I deserved to spend money on myself, especially because I had finally kind of learned that you don't need to spend money to make money type of thing. I entered 2019. And at the start of 2019, actually at the start of every single year, I write down where I am at. So I've got the start of like my social media, my email, my paid products, affiliate marketing, at the time, the clients that I had, and then I had my goals for that year, personal intentions, and miscellaneous stuff. And I do that every single year. But at the start of 2019, I really wish I would have done this at the start of 2022 to just give you guys the real numbers. But at the start of 2019, this is what my bank account looked like. My checking account had $267.22. My savings account had $100 even. My credit cards, I had two. The first one, $4,832.88. The second one, $2,181.92. So at the time, I think if you add that up, if my math is correct, that's over $7,000 in credit card debt. $7,000. Now, the one credit card I haven't told you guys about yet is the one that Alex and I share together. So we have combined our finances. We've been together for 7 freaking years. So we've combined our finances and we have an account together that we both put money into, and then we use that to pay our bills, and we have a credit card together so that all of our expenses, meaning our groceries or miscellaneous things that we need for the house, that goes on that credit card. Because Cathrin wasn't making very much money, that credit card started to build as well. And I didn't write that down in this journal. I didn't. But I am including that credit card in my credit card debt because it is attached to my name and it is my credit card debt. Because my money at the time was going to help Alex pay the bills and not that credit card. You know, so that credit card is on me as well. So 2019, I was $7,000 into credit card debt. I stopped driving with Grubhub in March of 2019. And the reason why is because I ideally, I didn't want to be driving with Grubhub. That was a means to an end to me. Honestly, even taking on clients was a means to an end to me. But at least taking on clients, I was doing something that I really loved and not just delivering food, that wasn't what I wanted to do. It wasn't. And it was a nice way to make money. I'm really, really glad that I did it, but that wasn't my dream. So what ended up happening is while I was working with Grubhub, obviously I was still taking on clients, and I was trying to take on more and more clients during that time so that I could make more money. And ideally the goal was to make enough money with my clients that I could leave Grubhub. And then the goal was to make enough money with my brand, with my ads, my affiliate marketing and stuff like that, so then I didn't have to work with clients anymore. And that's ultimately what happened. But at the start of 2019, I landed a couple big clients that were paying me a couple $1,000s. And it got to the point where I had enough work with my clients, I was making enough money with my clients that I could stop driving with Grubhub. So that's why I stopped driving with Grubhub in March. Now, I think if I would have wanted to pay off my credit card debt faster, I would have continued to drive with Grubhub. But I knew that if I stuck the course and I continued to build my brand, and I spent that time, 2 hours a day. If I spent that time building my brand, I knew that that would pay off so much more than just driving with Grubhub. And I need a water break, guys. By March of 2019, I was making enough money with my clients to pay my bills, to start kind of chipping away at my credit card debt, and I felt comfortable. I was making, like I said, a couple grand from my clients, and I was happy with that, I felt like I was doing really, really well. And I totally was. But at the same time, I was still building up credit card debt. You have to realize that every single month I have hundreds of dollars that go on my credit cards for the expenses for my business. So I had my money that I needed to pay for taxes. I needed to pay off my expenses for my business, but I also needed to have, I've got normal bills, guys. I have to pay for water, electricity, mortgage, food, all of that stuff. So I was trying to divide up where my money was going, and ultimately at the end of the day, all of my money that I was making was going to Alex's and my expenses. That's where all of my money was going. So it was, sadly, really, really easy for me to build up credit card debt because every single single month I was just paying the minimum. And the minimum on one of my credit cards was only $35 every single month. It was $35 no matter how much was on the credit card. The other credit card continued to increase. So if you were just paying the minimum, it would continue to increase. So at one point it ended up getting to like $115 was the minimum payment. And to me, I was like, oh my gosh, that's too much. When in reality, should I tell you guys? I'm here, I'm doing it. The total number that my credit card debt ended up coming to nearing the end of 2019. So like I said, 2019, building up credit card debt behind the scenes, pushing all of my money to Alex and I. The total number, I ended up building up $21,600 in credit card debt. And I actually have the screen captures of my 3 credit cards and how much money was on all of them. So I want to clarify those screen captures and where they are coming from. I ended up going back through all of my credit cards and I tried to figure out, okay, at what month did I have the most amount of money on my credit cards? And some of them, like I'm going to continue to tell a story. So the one screen capture that you just saw that had $7,000, I ended up putting more money on that credit card, but I just wanted to come up with the total for at one point in time, how much money I had in credit card debt. So I hope that makes sense. But basically, what ended up happening is nearing the end of 2019, I got a text from my sister. And this just like breaks my heart. I got a text from my sister and she sent me this retreat that was like meditation, wellness, find your purpose, get good with you, completely unplug this retreat. And she was like, I really want to go to this. I need to go to this. Can you go with me? Or will you go with me? It was like maybe $200. Like I don't even know how much it was, but it was like $200. It was gonna be in Boston, so I would have had to pay to get there. I would have had to drive to get there, and I didn't have that much money on my credit cards to pay for it. That's honestly what happened. I didn't have enough money on my credit cards to pay for it, and I just broke down. And I was like, I'm so freaking sick and tired of being broke, of putting things on my credit cards and thinking it's fine, of not being able to be there for my sister when she needs me in this moment. Like, I am sick of living this broke life where I can't do things for the people that need me. And I feel like that was a really rare case that my sister texted me and was like, hey, will you do this with me? I'm not in a good place. But it broke my heart to know that I couldn't be there for her. It did, just because I was in credit card debt, and that was my own fault. This had to be November or December of 2019, but that for me was the kick in the ass that I needed to get out of credit card debt. That did it for me. And I'm not sure what's gonna do it for you guys. Like if you're in credit card debt right now, it may be another aha moment. But for me, it was that exact moment that snapped me out of it. So you wanna know what I did? I had someone reach out to me that I had actually met like a month before, and they run a mastermind group up in Rochester. And basically it's where this group of ladies gets together. They're coming from all different sides of business. So like some may have physical retail shops, some may be therapists, some may be online service providers. Like, I don't know, like everyone does something different and I don't want to like specifically call someone out, but she invited me to join this local mastermind group. And basically it was 6 months, you meet once a month and you spit ideas. You know, you talk to each other, you help each other get through tough times, you give each other advice, ideas, and you get all these different perspectives to help you grow your business. And it's such a genius idea. I love the thought of masterminds. And she reached out to me. We ended up we did a video chat, and I was like, honestly, right now, my main concern is paying off my credit card debt. And signing up for this, it's gonna add more debt. To be fully transparent with you guys, it was $500. And if I didn't pay it in one chunk, I think it was $650 or something just to pay it month by month. So I was talking to her, and ultimately like the conclusion that I came to is if I want to be serious with paying off my credit card debt, if I want to grow my business, I need to do this. And you guys may call me crazy. This is crazy. At the time, I had just paid off payment. So I think I had maybe $600. I think at the end of the day, I only have $50 left on my credit card. So I think I had $550 left to spend on my credit card. And I paid $500 to join this mastermind. So I had 2 credit cards totally maxed out. One with $5,000. The other one woo, with $8,500 on it. And I signed up for this mastermind. At the time, like, I kind of thought I was crazy. I was like, you're insane. Like, you're spending the rest of your money, all that you have, to join this one group. But I'm so glad that I did, because as you guys know, the end of 2019 is really what started the growth within my brand. And no, it wasn't because of that mastermind by any means, but when I joined that mastermind, I think I had just hit 30,000 subscribers. I had just hit 30,000 subscribers, and by the end of that mastermind, I had 180,000 subscribers. And it was insane. Like, that mastermind was so good for me, and I'm so glad that I did it, and I'm so glad that I invested in myself in that way, because for so long, I stopped spending money on myself. That was really the turning point for me, was my sister saying that she needed me and I couldn't be there. And then I ended up spending the rest of my money on something to invest back in myself and really scale my business. So I can't believe I shared all that with you guys. I honestly can't. This is something that I've been hiding for so long. I thought that I should be ashamed. And I'm not going to lie, that I was ashamed. I totally was. I didn't want anyone to know that I was in credit card debt. But I did it because I thought I had to. And I guess if you guys read any books about like entrepreneurs or people that like have followed their passions, chased their dreams, now they're incredibly successful. If you've read any of those books, you will always hear the part of their struggle, you know, where they're broke, where they're living on the couch with a buddy because they have no money, but they're just doing the darn thing. And that's what this story is to me. This story is me making a terrible freaking mistake, going into this as my full-time job way too early, before it could honestly sustain me, and building up credit card debt. You know, like, you have to make sacrifices. If you want this to be your full-time job, you have to make sacrifices no matter what. Like, you do. And I made sacrifices along the way. I made a ton of sacrifices, but one of the mistakes that I made was building up credit card debt. I never had to do that. I didn't, but I did. And I just want you guys to take it from me and know, like, you don't have to do that. Like, I don't want you guys to do that. I don't want you guys to get to the point of $21,000 in credit card debt. Like, that's not okay. It's not okay. And I feel so incredibly grateful that I stuck with it, that I'm here today, that I was able to pay off that credit card debt. Like, once I decided, hey, I'm paying off this credit card debt, my goal was to get it paid off before we got married in May. Now, obviously, you guys know, wedding canceled, all of that stuff, but that was the goal. And I did it by May of 2020. Like, realistically, it took me 5 months to pay off my credit card debt. And the next video you guys are going to see from me is exactly how much money I made in June. And I'm a little worried to share this, but that is what is going to be, I think, the next video that you're going to see. And then I do want to talk about my strategy of paying off credit card debt, because the money that you're going to see was not always the money that I was making. And if it was, like, I would have had my credit card debt paid off obviously faster. But yeah, I think that's it. I can't believe I shared this with you guys, but I'm so glad that I did. And I hope that at least I touched one of you to know, like, don't get into credit card debt. Don't put that much pressure on your passion as well to make you money. If you guys have ever read the book Big Magic, seriously a game changer. Love that book. But she said in there, I think it's Elizabeth, I don't know, I read that book so long ago, so I forget who the author's name. I thought it was Elizabeth something, I don't know. In that book, she mentions, like, not putting too much pressure on your passion to make you money. And I really believe in that. So that is it for this video. I will see you guys back here soon. I feel like I'm rambling and I totally lost track of where my thoughts were going there, but wow, I really shared that. Okay, bye guys.